Hi, I'm Liz Darby. I am Assistant Principal SENCo at Nishkam High School. Nishkam High School is a secondary school in Birmingham. I've been here for 8 years now. It is faith-inspired, virtues-led. We're a multi-faith school. Through the heart of that is our virtues-led approach. Recently, and I think this is a citywide thing, we've seen an increase in need. And as a school, we want to be able to support all learners. So we do have some learners that do require specialist targeted support and quite intensive support as well. A lot of needs around literacy and reading, but also needs around autism spectrum condition and other associated speech and language needs as well. We've got a really kind of like inclusive ethos where we want these children to be part of our school. We want to be able to support them in the best possible way.
My name's Alexandria Hough and I lead the Developing Local Provision project across North West Birmingham. Birmingham's Developing Local Provision project has been going for 3 years now. It's funded through the DFE alongside the LEA, and it's a project where we want groups of schools to work together to support each other and have that sustainability once the project ends and the funding ends. The need within the area was to support schools with cognition and learning. There was a high level of need specifically for struggling readers at secondary schools. Nishkam being one of the 15 schools that we support as part of that project, to have 2 cognition and learning literacy hubs, where pupils will be referred to us on a 6 weeks literacy intervention where they undertake robust and rigorous interventions alongside phonics, reading, assistive technology, but it's just really to find out how that child learns best. Over the last 3 years, Liz has been referring pupils to us. As the project developed into year 3, we've worked alongside scanning pens to support schools, all of the 15 schools within the network, to have the literacy toolbox approach to really try and support some of those learners out with having complex and specialist needs around reading.
Following on from kind of the work that Alex was doing with children at the DLP, we recognised that when children were coming back to Nishkam, that they needed a robust kind of like phonics intervention. Rather than going something that was purely kind of like phonics based, we brought into the programme which was Literacy Junction, and Literacy Junction for us provided what we needed. It wasn't just a phonics-based approach, it was also improving things like comprehension through like the reciprocal reading approach, sight words, and through precision teaching, and also that kind of like writing and actually being able to like construct sentences. So for me, Literacy Junction brought lots of different elements of literacy together rather than just being a purely kind of like phonics-based approach.
It's hard to pitch for secondary school to know what's right in terms of the support that's needed, because it's not just always phonics, it's a multisensory approach as well.
Yes, there is that. There is the work around initial sounds, diagraphs, blending, but also there's all the other things required to be a good reader, but also being able to use that within the classroom as well. The work that's been done around scanning pens, for me it was about, okay, children can do this within the setting of an intervention, but what do they do when they go into a classroom? How are they accessing reading material? How are they accessing any of those kind of like questions, passages, if they are not actually fluent readers yet? We know that if a child is not fluent in reading, that they're going to struggle with what they are comprehending as they read. We know that through kind of like the Education Endowment Foundation's research. My belief was that children needed a tool to actually be able to access a curriculum in the classroom, which was not an additional adult all the time. The reason being is that I think that children can become very kind of like over-reliant on adult support within the classroom, and obviously as secondary learners, we don't want that. We want to try and encourage as much independence as possible. So my hope was that once children were kind of like trained up with the scanning pens, that this could have been something really valuable to them, to be able to actually understand the material of what was happening in the classroom. I thought it was good to use it alongside Literacy Junction to see actually if it was something that could support children who were at that stage of reading, so quite early on still in those kind of like foundation stages of initial sounds. And that's what we've been doing, and we can see that we've been making progress, the children have been making progress, and that kind of like paired approach has been working. So I think that there has been an improvement in their fluency, greater independence within the classroom, and then also them having more kind of like autonomy and being able to make decisions about their own learning. When we're talking about children with special educational needs, having some voice, autonomy and opinion is really important to them, as well as kind of improving all of those, trying to improve the academic side and making things more accessible.